Hello everyone, this is Tina with Tia's Treasures. Today I have for you a quick unboxing of the Simon Says Stamp September 2022 card kit, and then 5 cards. At least I hope it's 5 cards. It's my little book here. I already took it out of the bag, so let's go ahead and see what we've got. Yes, you can see my little paper bag is down here on the bottom. My pencil. I was making notes last night of the cards I wanted to make. So, what do we got here? We have candy. Put that in there. I have a cool little Simon Says triangle, little triangle sequins thing. That's cool. I always wanted one of those, but I didn't feel like paying for it. Beautiful pink glitter cardstock. I hear some people might get blue, but I have pink. The kit has an embossing folder. This embossing folder, you can get some dies that'll cut out individual flowers, which I did get because I just thought that would be fun to have. So I think one of my cards I'm going to do that with. I don't know why I'm doing this. That could probably be annoying. Sorry. Well, we get some beautiful sequins. I love the sequin mix. This is so pretty. I have to put them in my little triangle tray and use some of these. It comes with, I think this is called a Groovy Happy Birthday die. I'm sure if I pulled my little card out, or my little sheet here that tells you everything that's in the kit, I think it's called a Groovy Happy Birthday die. So yeah, and this card kit's called Let's Celebrate. Guess it has a name right there. We've got some pattern papers. We've also got a couple envelopes that just fell out, a white and a metallic pink. And what's this? Oh, this is the little stamped September card. And I went to buy something like a couple days ago from Simon, and the coupon code for September quit working. I thought it would have gone till September, or for August rather. I thought it would have gone till like August 31st. But no, so then I decided, well, I'm not going to buy it yet. I'll just wait. Not that I need anything anyway. So here's some pattern paper we've got. Really pretty. I love this stuff. I bought a pad of it so I don't have to worry about what side I'm going to use. That's why I end up with too much pattern paper, because I really don't use it that often, but I'm so afraid of having a side I like and not being able to use it, because, you know, I want to do things with both sides, as if that's going to happen that often. Got little cut aparts here, some tags, suns, aren't they cool? And some more cut aparts. Beautiful flowers there. Little checks. I love this. I'm going to do a card with that. So that's our pattern paper. We're going to look at the card, or the stamp set last. We have a pink. I'm sure it has a name, but to me it's pink. We have a blue. And I know this is Nina Solar White. I think it's 110. And we have a rainbow holographic cardstock. I'm going to hide that so you don't get blinded. And now, last but not least, we have Let's Celebrate, which is a birthday card, birthday stamp set. It's got some nice little sentiments. Happy birthday, hugs, kisses, birthday wishes. Happy birthday, sending birthday wishes. I love this little banner. Got a cake slice, a whole cake, and a cupcake. Some balloons. I don't know what the dots are supposed to be for. Maybe they're just for fun, but I always think they should be for something. We got one little cloud. So, you know, there's that. And that's it. So let's go make some cards. So for my first card, I am using this delicious pattern paper, and I used what came with the kit. All the cards I made today are with the paper that came with the kit. I did buy an extra paper pad, but that doesn't mean that you can't make every one of these cards, pretty much. So I went ahead and I heat embossed that slice of cake and the happy birthday sentiment using the white Simon Says embossing powder. And I just fussy cut it out. I don't have any of the dies for this kit except I did buy the dies for the embossing folder. I think I mentioned that in the unboxing. So anyway, for this first card, it's pretty simple. I took the piece of the Doll Pink cardstock, and I am using that as a frame with this pattern paper, and I am slightly popping up the birthday cake with some Simon Says puffy tape. Puffy tape, whatever you want to call it, and also I am popping up the happy birthday sentiment. I got that tape, I believe, in last month's kit or the month before. And well, this foam tape here I pulled out of my stash. I have no idea where it came from. I just have a lot of stuff like that. And I am going to pop that up underneath the piece of birthday cake. And I'm just trying something a little different here with this set of cards. I've got it slowed down almost to real time because my last video I had it sped up a little bit too much, and I'm trying different things when I'm editing because, you know, different styles can be annoying to you or me or whoever. And I'm trying to find what works best for everyone. So anyhow, I do have my coloring portion of this video sped up because that would take a long time. But getting back to this card, I put some of the sequins that came with this kit on this card to finish it off, and I just kind of randomly scattered them around and glued them down. And now that's it for card number 1. And I think it turned out pretty good. I might have I might have done the blue cake instead of the pink on this pattern paper if I did it again, but I like it. So we got that rainbow cardstock in the kit, but like last year sometime, we got this smaller piece of rainbow cardstock, holographic cardstock. And what I like about the smaller one is it's got every single color and the small paper. Now, they're not selling that anymore that I can find, just the big sheets, but I went ahead and used the small sheet. You can still use the big one if you've got it. Now, I used the glitter cardstock for my sentiment. I cut it out, and the way I got everything so centered was I also cut out a background with the happy birthday in it. And so that way we're able to space everything out perfectly. Now this silver holographic paper is from my stock. You can use white cardstock, you can use anything. You can actually, if you do not have these dies, you can fussy cut around those flowers. It's not going to be that hard at all. Now, I didn't feel like cutting them all apart, the dies that is, so I just put them on a single sheet of paper and cut them all out. Even though I don't use every single one that cut out, I do end up using most of them, I want to say. And this is just a beautiful card, the way it turns out. So I spray a little bit of water on the back of that cardstock so it doesn't crack, which is why it's curling up a little bit. And I am going to run it through the Journey die cutting machine, the Platinum 6, not the Journey, the Platinum 6 die cutting machine. Now, you could just run it through by itself and it'll make an impression, but I find the best impression with this is just putting the embossing folder on top of the platform and then putting a piece of, I use the backing from the embossing folder itself on there. And I'm running it through twice. I don't know that you need to. Now, this is not the new platform that Spellbinders came out with. This is the one that came with the Platinum 6. I figured it's not that old, so why replace it yet? And I just think that's beautiful the way it came out with the different florals on there and the sparkle with the different colors. And as you can see, you can still use that piece of chipboard or whatever you want to call it and slide it right back in if that's how you want to store your embossing folders. So I am just going to tape down my piece of cardstock, the embossed cardstock. I'm going to end up gluing it down to another piece of the Doll Pink cardstock. But first I'm trying to figure out where exactly I want to put these holographic cutouts or die cuts, and I think about putting them over their brothers or their twins or whatever you want to call it, and I decide that they would look better just in a random assortment in the middle of the card, popped up. Some are popped up and some aren't. I tape this down with my tape runner, and we're going to put it on the front of a top opening A2 card. All of my cards are A2 and they're all top opening. So anyway, I hope everybody's having a happy Stamptember. I am trying to not buy everything in sight, which I have been known to do in past years, but because I still have stuff from last year's Stamptember and the year before that I haven't opened, partly because mostly because I'm hoarding them and don't want them to get icky, which is the stupidest reason in the world. And, you know, it's getting to the point now where, I'm like, I've had some of these 2 years. Maybe I should just sell them because I see some of them are going for some decent money and I'm not using them, but then I think, but I really, really like them. So I don't know. I just know this year I am trying to save money where I can. Like I bought the Lawn Fawn one, the Lawn Fawn stamp set the other night, and I did not buy the dies because I'm like, no, everything starts adding up, and they're a lot more money than just, than I would have expected them to be. So I figure I'll buy the one stamp set. I just wish there was a way to combine shipping, because when you add shipping to everything and tax, it's just like it gets a bit much. So like I said, I'm really limiting what I bought. Normally I would have bought a lot more by now, but I'm trying to see, really what else is coming out and being very, very picky for a change. So you can see me trying to rearrange all this stuff. I figured out that glue just does not want to stick, so I have to use some sort of tape runner. And I had this one on my desk, so I thought that would be easier to use than the great big ATG runner. And it does stick down a little bit. It's still, because it's kind of curved, I don't know why the holographic paper got all curvy like that. It doesn't want to stick down too much. So you can see I've got the two big ones popped up, and then I'm just, the ones right there are just going down flat, and then it's just all about, the color and dimension of all of them. This one I'm going to pop up, and then there's a small little floral that I'm going to pop up in the middle of the two that I glued down flat. And I just think this card it's so sparkly. I didn't end up putting any sequins on this card because with the holographic paper and the rainbow metallic cardstock in the background, I didn't think we needed anything else. And then we've got that glitter cardstock on there too. It's just full of pizzazz. That's what Tiaza's is. It's Tina with pizzazz. Okay, maybe not, but I like to tell myself that anyway. So I hope everybody's summer was great and your fall's gonna be great. I'm just, my September started out with a couple of deaths, unfortunately. I've got 2 funerals to go to this week at both extremes, one pretty young and one pretty old, and I'm not happy really that either of them are no longer here. But I don't know, it's tough. But moving on, because this is supposed to be a happy video. I'm going on vacation next week and that will be happy, so there's that. So this is my 3rd card. Now this one, I am using some of that beautiful floral pattern paper, and I'm using the island blue cardstock behind it. And I took a piece of that island blue cardstock and I heat embossed in white Happy Birthday. And I fussy cut that out. It wasn't too difficult. Again, I used the Simon Says fine white embossing powder. And I double stamped it on there a little bit, and it was off just a hair, but I kind of liked the way it looked. You can't, unlike black lines, it doesn't look like a double stamp. And I was trying to figure out why my Misty was doing that, and I think sometimes a little bit of it might be my hinges shake just a little bit if I'm like rubbing it up and down. So I'm going to be a little bit more careful just to press down with my hands instead of making it shake. So there's my little stick, well, it's not really a stick figure without a body. My little curls and the double chin kind of looks just like me. Okay, maybe not. But anyhow, everything on this card here is glued down flat. I thought about popping up the Happy Birthday, and then I decided I was just going to have this card be flat so we didn't have to mess with putting the foam tape on the back. And I do end up putting some sequins on this card. Some of them get a little swallowed up by the background, but I think you'll be able to see that they are there. And that would be it for that card. But while I'm gluing on sequins, might as well tell you what else is going on. So what I want to know is, am I the only one who plants a garden, and then when it gets about this time of the year, I'm like, oh no, I planted a garden. What am I going to do with all these tomatoes and peppers? Now, in years past, I canned a lot. I made salsas. I did tomato sauce and just plain tomatoes and, all sorts of things. I've made jalapeno jellies and different types of jams, and I pickled hot peppers. So real quick, this yellow card is from my stash. It's not Spellbinders. I think it might be Stamps of Life. So I took this yellow suns and I cut it lengthwise. Would it be lengthwise? Well, kind of, I guess. I'm not even sure. Depends which way you're talking about the pattern paper. But anyhow, I cut it the way my finger's going. So you can make this card as well if you would like. And I cut the little You Are My Sunshine out of the bottom half. And then I took this second piece of pattern paper, the one with the tags on the back and the pineapple, and I fussy cut that out. And I'm showing you exactly how I cut it out. And then that pineapple, I fussy cut that. I didn't leave any sort of border around it, and it came out really good. It's really easy to fussy cut, and that's what I'm using on this card. I took a circle die to the You Are My Sunshine because, you know, it's not a perfect circle, but I didn't care. It's a perfect circle now. And then I took some of the Tim Holtz Wild Honey, and I put that around the all around the You Are My Sunshine, and I popped that up on some foam tape, but I did glue down flat the pineapple. So getting back to my tomatoes, I have all these tomatoes out there, and I already harvested them once and made a bunch of tomato sauce, or I should say spaghetti sauce. I actually made it into spaghetti sauce, which, you know, no meat or anything, and I wasn't sure about canning it, so I just went ahead and bought freezer jars, and I poured it all into freezer jars, and so I'm done with that. But now I have a bunch more to harvest, and I know from past experience I will never go through that many canned tomatoes or whole tomatoes, or just even, you know, just ground or crushed tomatoes. And so I was thinking of making tomato jam, but which I've never done before, but I thought it sounded interesting. I like to try new things. But with the funerals and everything coming up, and I know it'll just take me, I could probably get it done tomorrow, but quite frankly, I don't feel like it. But these $2 tomato plants make me feel guilty for wasting any of the tomatoes, and God, they're delicious. I wish there was a way to eat like them all year long, fresh out of the garden. And so at this point, I'm thinking maybe I will just blanch them and peel them and freeze them in some freezer bags. I'm just not feeling it all this year. And then I've my green peppers. I've been making stuffed peppers out of those. Those are really good. But I bought spicy bells. I have a spicy bell plant. And in years past, they've been big spicy bells, the size of a regular green pepper. And I've made stuffed spicy bell peppers, which were really delicious. But for whatever reason, the spicy bells I bought this year, they're tiny, they're shaped, they're all red, but they're about the size of a tomato. So you could stuff them, but I'm not really feeling it. So I don't know what I'm going to do with all those. Now my poblanos, I'm going to make some chili rellenos with this week actually. But again, I don't know what I'm going to do with all of them because I have too many of them. And the jalapenos, what did I do with the jalapenos? Oh, I made candied jalapenos. I was able to can those, and with the refrigerator recipe. I boiled it up, vinegar and sugar, and I just found a recipe for them, and hopefully they're going to turn out good. I used my food processor just to slice them up. And as you can see, I shined up You Are My Sunshine, and now I'm going to put some gold sequins. Oh, I guess I'm just getting ready to shine up the top of the pineapple and the You Are My Sunshine. See, that's what I get for not paying attention to what's going on screen. And I'm going to pull out some gold sequins from my stash because I figured they would work better than the multicolored ones that came with this kit. But again, I'm showing you how versatile this kit really is. You can use those pattern papers for all sorts of things. And I really love this card. I think it's really pretty. And this is one of the easier cards. The next card is going to be the one where most of the time in this video is probably taking, because it's the one that I did the stamping on the Nina Solar white cardstock, and then I did some Copic coloring. And I do have that sped up, like I had said before. And if I get done with my story, which I kind of lost my place, maybe I can finish that up. But yeah, I was talking about the peppers, and yeah, the jalapenos, I made the candied ones, and I think that's it for the garden. The zucchini, that plant kind of died a while ago, and I got plenty of zucchini from it before it did. And we planted like some big white onions that didn't grow very big. It's the first time we did those, and I used those in the spaghetti sauce that I froze. So if you've got any suggestions, you know, feel free. I would love to hear what you do with with these plants that every year I plant them, but I'm getting to the point where I'm just like, I'm getting tired of it, but I love the fresh produce, you know, but I just don't love having to figure out what to do with all of it. So I took the stamp set, and what I'm doing here is I'm stamping down the heart balloon, the banner, and the cake with some Memento black ink. And I am going to end up masking the heart balloon because I want 3 balloons. And I don't show it, I originally made a mask of one of the balloons, the oval balloons. And that's when I realized, wait a minute, I have to mask the heart balloon because that's the one I stamped down first. I get confused sometimes with masks, trying to figure out what goes in front of what. And what I got to remember is the first thing I stamp is going to be the thing out in front. So here I am just stamping that heart down again. You can see I've got the oval balloon still down, which I cut out in editing because it just, this video was kind of going long as it was, and I didn't want it to be too long showing things that are irrelevant. So I stamped down my little heart here, and I'm going to fussy cut that out because, again, I don't have any dies. And you'll see when it's done, it turns out pretty nice. And this is just, it's, I have some stamping mask paper from Inkadinkado. I bought that a while ago. I keep hearing how great the Gina K masking magic is, but until I go through this, I am not going to buy it. I am trying to save money where I can because I buy way too much stuff. If you saw the great big bag of Tim Holtz products I have, which I have not used, you know, you would probably be shocked. But I keep thinking, I want to try to do some stuff that's not cards. So I'm buying all these like paper dolls, and I bought a few of those wooden boxes he had, and I want to try to do some stuff with it. And I said, I've got all sorts of stuff. I just haven't used it yet. I pulled out all my Tim Holtz stuff that we got from previous kits, ideology stuff that I've never used. So eventually I'm going to get around to doing it. So this mask goes down perfectly. And now I am going to put the 2 balloons on either side. And after I stamped them down, I started thinking about how you usually can see the balloons through the other balloons. I guess I could have pretended the heart balloon was one of those Mylar balloons that you can't see through, but I just kind of figured it was another latex balloon. So in my coloring, I do end up coloring in a way that you can see the other balloons through it. I don't know how well that shows up on camera, but you will see what I'm doing and what I'm talking about. But first I need to glue down my little strings. Now this first one I put in this direction, and for the other 2 strings I turned it around so they weren't carbon copies of each other. But I'm trying to figure out where I want my sentiment to go, because I'm going to have to mask off the bottoms of those strings so they don't end up going into the sentiment. And it turns out, once I figure out exactly where I'm going to put the sentiment, it's not hard at all to mask off the bottoms of these strings. And I'm going to ink it up, and you're going to see what I mean. I just kind of put a piece of tape right there to kind of cover the bottom. And I ink it up, and now this is really important. When you do this, you've got to remember to pull that piece of tape up before you stamp down, or you're going to have a black mess all over your cardstock, and you're going to have to probably start over or figure out a way to hide that. Just see the top of my curls right there? Top of my gray curls. I got tired of coloring it, and I said, no more. And it looks pretty good. Not that you could tell, just seeing the worst part of my head. I'm like, huh, does the top of my head really look like that? Maybe I need a little bit more curl gel on it. So here we are. Don't you love those strings? I love those strings. I don't know why. It's such a minor thing, but I'm like, ooh, these turned out nice. So I am using the Hugs and Kisses and Birthday Wishes. And I have some Mermaid Sparkle from Brutus Monroe in blue that I pulled out. I have never used it before other than doing a swatch. And a swatch, you've got this round swatch, so I didn't realize there would be like all this kind of white glitter kind of on my card after I heat embossed it, which it didn't really stay on there. It just came right off. It was kind of odd. But anyhow, I used some Simon Says embossing ink, and now I am just pouring that all over. And I am going to end up heat embossing it. It's going to look really nice with the other colors on my card. So tap that off and just getting it all heat embossing, trying my best not to warp the card. But, you know, it always warps a little bit. I don't care what you do. It seems to always... I've not figured out how not to get it to warp. So, this is me sped up and coloring. I tried to put the different color caps right down there so you can try to see what color I'm using. But I still don't think I'm the best person to, ask about Copic coloring. I'm still learning. But you can see where I kind of right here go off to the side. Well, I guess I already did it. I am going pretty quick. I think I've got this sped up 5 times. And I always go from light to dark. I know as you get better, I think people are able to go from dark to light, but that's not me. And so I do the first one purple, and then I'm doing this second oval balloon or round balloon blue. And the middle heart, of course, I do in pink. And I honestly, for once, I'm really pleased with how the coloring turned out. I tried to do the little banners in some of the same colors that I did the balloons. Now, when it's a small little image, I don't bother with shading or anything. I see people shade regardless of how small something is. And I just feel that like the candles and the flames and stuff like that, it's not worth trying to shade it for me. I pick a color and I just go for it. And then I'm done. But you can see right there, my heart kind of looks like a butt. But not in real life. It just, the balloons show through pretty nice. You kind of see the different colors. You can see the blue peeking through on the one. Now the purplish lavender one, you can't really see the color as much, but you can still get an idea of the outline of it, and more so on this video. Now for this cake here, I didn't bother putting the dark all the way around. I just wanted to try to get a shadow, and as it dried, I think it looked like a shadow. Pretty nice. Right here it looks like I've almost got a big open spot. And I was thinking I was going to use some white gel pen on this card afterwards for highlights, but then I forgot, which I'm famous for doing that too, because one of these cards, I think the floral one, I was going to paint splatter on, and I forgot to do that too until after it was filmed, and then I'm like, well, you know, it filmed all the way through. I didn't want to go back and have to do it, and so that was it. And now for the blue, I didn't use a whole lot of shading on that, but I did use the 2 different colors. And for the base right there, I do come back and use gray after I do the candles. The candles are just, the tops are orange and the candles themselves are yellow. I wanted something that was a different color from the rest of the card. And so there we are with the gray. I used, what is it, like N2 and N4, and I think and I think it turned out pretty good. I trimmed this card down so it'll fit again on the Island Pink cardstock, which kind of will match the blue in the cake plate. And we've got those nice pastels going. And I've got this great big piece of like fun foam with the adhesive on both sides that I'm going to use to pop up this card. And I don't remember where I got this stuff either. It was just in my stash. But it sits nice and thick. And it's going to just sit on this card front beautifully. And then we are going to take a bunch of sequins and I'm going to scatter them all over the front of this card because I do think there's a lot of white space, and while I did think about splattering on this card, I didn't want to end up ruining it all, and I thought that the sequins would be easier to place where I wanted them to. Like or subscribe, I say. And yeah, that reminds me, I think one of these I asked why on, and the why was getting back to me just always having difficulty with these cards. Again, I wasn't paying attention then, but in case you were wondering why I put why on one of the cards, that was why. So yeah, if you liked this video, please hit the like button. That helps the algorithm. Or I'd love to have you subscribe. I love all my subscribers. I love all my viewers, whether you're new or old here. But thank you so much for getting to the end of this and watching me put sequins all over this card. And I am so close to 500 subscribers now. I'm like, never thought I'd get there, and I just have to keep chugging along and seeing where we can go. I would love to make some cards with some of the Stamptember stamp sets, but they'll be sold out by the time I get to it, and I don't want to rub it in. So anyhow, here are the 5 cards, and I am so pleased with the way they all turned out, and I only had to color on one of them. So if you don't like coloring, you can use this card kit and do a whole lot of other things with it. I wanted to show you what you could do because I'm not always a big fan of coloring. So anyhow, that's it. Bye-bye for now.